Hi, this is Real World Audio, and today I'm talking about how to find the right questions to ask in your pursuit to audio and the sound you want for yourself. And that's something rather critical because that's the toughest thing in audio, to ask the right question, because we always think that we know what we are looking for, but then it turns out that that was not your problem. So I give you an example. uh, you have a stereo system set up, and you want more bass, or you want a cleaner mid-range or something like that. You have a set specific goal ahead of you that you want, and then you are looking for reviews of audio gear. And then let's say you find a deck, and the reviewer is really happy about that deck and is recommending it wholeheartedly, and he checks out few things on a list, and it all says that that's going to be the right deck for you. And then you get it, and three things are going to happen, one of the three options. So option number one, you get it and you are happy with it, bingo. And option number two, you get it and you are much happier with it than you ever thought you are going to be. And then you think, okay, I have perfect sound, my search is over. Now all you have to do is just get the music you want, focus on the music. And option number three, you get it, and either you have a little improvement in one area, but otherwise the sound collapses, or it's a disappointment. And and actually all of these things are happening to people, and you don't know which is the one that's going to happen to you. But if you get together with your buddies, and maybe there's like 20 of you, and all 20 of you buy that exact same deck, then there will be maybe one lucky person who will say, oh, okay, this just completed my system. Bye guys, I'm just looking for music. Don't include me on just swapping audio gear from now on, because my system is perfect and I don't want to touch it. But that's going to be one person, maybe, if you guys are lucky. There will be like maybe 3-4 guys who will be really happy with the upgrade, and 10 plus guys who will be very disappointed and wants your money back. Yeah, I mean, they want their money back. uh, and why is this happening? And that's happening because the way we approach a stereo system building and upgrading equipment is really shooting in the dark. And that's what's going to happen if you don't educate yourself. And I'm going to give you now the most powerful tools to educate yourself, so that you go into this dead end where most of the choices don't work out, and you feel that you are forced into a dead end where you just keep on swapping components, and it just seems so promising, or it sounds so good at your body's place, but when you bring it home, it's just a total disappointment, and you don't understand why is that happening. And to solve that, you need to first of all just get the basics down, and that's like getting basic information on audio gear, how things work, educate yourself on like what distortion is, what audio measurements are, what are the parameters of the gear you are looking for, and so on and so on. But that's the basics. If you know the basics, then basically you have the foundation, you have the fundamentals. But with the basics alone, you cannot build a system that will be your lasting happiness. Or if you do, it's pure luck, nothing more to it. what you need for a permanent solution and to find your way out of the maze are the master classes. So these are those educational materials that elevate the level of your thinking. So, and that's basically like a paradigm shift for you. And that's absolutely vital, because when you have just blocks of information, there are blocks of information. You have objective report A, objective report B, objective report C, but there's no connection between them. You have to translate the objective material to your subjective vantage point. You have to correlate the two together. And master classes, they are presented by people who have spent time investigating a subject. They understand the basics, and not just understanding the basics, they went way beyond that. They have tried it out in real life. They have looked at diverse parameters. They've looked at how the measurements work, how certain aspects work, and worked on iterations, on variations, on combinations. And they can tell you that what is the way to make use of the collected information, how to translate the audio info blocks to audio wisdom that works for you. And I have done a couple of these presentations that I have called masterclasses, and they are masterclasses because their purpose is to elevate your thinking, to take you to another level of thinking about certain things, about a subject, about a topic. And it's not just me doing that. If you type in on YouTube like masterclass and diverse things related to audio, there's tons of talks by audio professionals. Look for people who are like main designers for audio gear, leading engineers, company owners, and listen to them, what they share about their experiences of developing their own products. What were their roadblocks? How did they solve problems? And I recommend really just to find and listen to as many master classes as you can, and not just look for those people whom you like and you think you resonate with them because they build gear, audio gear, that you love the sound of it, but look out those guys who represent the other end of the spectrum and listen to them as well, and think about what they say, because the only way that you can put together a picture, an authentic picture about audio, how audio works, is by listening to those people who have experience about applying or knowledge. My father used to say, had an interesting saying that that person who really knows his craft, he runs a company and makes the product, does a business out of it, basically applies knowledge into practice that performs. That person who doesn't understand it to that full extent does research on it because he wants to get to that level that he can put it into practice. And that person who has even less understanding than a researcher writes the textbooks and teaches it. and you might think that that this is dissing people and disrespectful to researchers and teachers, but I have to tell you guys that my father, he was all three of these. He was a university professor, lecturer. He was a researcher at the university, and now he has his own company and runs it. So he has a whole life experience about these issues. But why I mentioned his experience and his lesson, that's because it is really applicable to master classes. That when you just learn about electronics textbooks, and you learn about things like T-small parameters, how distortion is measured, and so on and so on, how to design a loudspeaker cabinet, all of those things are textbook material. But to make them work, to translate them to real life, you need a much higher vantage point than that. And I'm not saying that textbook is useless. No, that's absolutely necessary, absolutely mandatory. If you are going to get into audio, the more textbooks you are familiarizing yourself with, the better for you. Especially if you want to become an audio engineer, you want to design your amplifiers, loudspeakers, then it's not mandatory for you to have an education, like a formal education, that you go to college, you go to university, do your PhD on an audio subject. You can uh, just go ahead, get the textbook for yourself, and learn from it. And then you can find out that does it work for you? Are you able to incorporate the knowledge from the textbook in your head? Or maybe you need help. So if you need help, then you got two options. One of them, go to college or university and get that degree, and that might help you get it. But I can tell you as an experienced person in the life of academia, I have two master's degrees and a PhD, and I can tell you that doesn't matter how high you get with your education, they are not going to teach you how to think. You are going to get a ton of information that you have to absorb, but whether you will be proficient enough to apply that information, college, university, and PhD is not going to teach you that. That has to come from you. And if you are not ready for that yet, then listen to the master classes, because the master classes teach you that mind frame, that mentality, that approach that you can use to put together your building blocks and form a clear picture, and then you can navigate. So basically the masterclass gives you the roadmap. Imagine this is a map. It will tell you this is the map, and then you can look at the map, and let's say if it's a map of Europe, oh okay, here I am in Berlin. If I want to go to Rome, I have to go south and on this and that highway, and then it will be easy. But if you don't know the road map, you just know the cities, but you don't know what's the relation between them, how to get from one to the other, it will be just sheer luck that you will be basing your audio journey on. And of course, what I said is most easily applicable for, or I would say most applicable for those who really want to become engineers, or even if you are an engineer, audio engineer, you want to step up. You don't want just make a product that measures good, but you want to come up with something, maybe let's say a loudspeaker that sounds great, that doesn't just sounds good and measures good, but it's a reflection of your dreams, and it is more than what the science put inside. Because for us and audio engineers, our quest is not just to make a product which performs optimally, but to use science, so you use those design parameters and use the knowledge to come up with something that is more than what is predicted by its mathematical model. And that's going to happen if you have a higher vantage point. So you need to be able to elevate your thinking to a higher level than just that raw mathematics and physics that we have used to describe those parameters that we use today, because those parameters, those are not the real deal. Those are just the shadow of the reality. Those are just the mathematical representation of averaged impressions, averaged measurements, and it's going to give you a good result if you use that to design a product, but you have to elevate your thoughts. You have to go with a much higher perspective to come up with something that's just not a copy of something that's like the 110th copy of the 100th thing that's on the market. So but what about other audiophiles who I just want to build a system. I don't want to design loudspeakers or amplifiers. Come on, that's insane. We cannot recommend that to every single audiophile, that you become audio engineers capable of designing a complete audio system. No way, that's not going to happen for an average user. So for you, what's going to happen is that you are going to learn from the master classes, and by observing them, you will be able to create a picture in your head how the world of audio works, how the engineers who design the gear, how they think, what is their concept, how are they putting together audio systems, and that's enough for every audiophile, so that it will help to guide you towards the path that you want to grow towards. First of all, you will be made aware that there are many different roads in audio, many different kinds of system building that you can achieve, you can pick, and you will learn how to go on those paths. Because if you don't look at master classes, then you won't even know that there are specific avenues that you can pick. There are principles that you can use to guide you to build a useful system, and if you want to tweak them, build your own, modify your own, then you can just look for those building blocks of information that will help you create what you want, what you need for yourself. And if you don't want to create it for yourself, you just want to be able to choose between different concepts, then just listen to the masterclasses and you will have a clearer picture and a better idea. So if you go to my channel's homepage, and I have a playlist called Masterclass, and there I have my videos which I think do serve this purpose. And also I have my homepage, channel's homepage. Sorry guys, this is now Friday for me, Friday the 13th, a long week at work. This is after work, I'm just really tired. When I shoot my videos, it's at the end of the day when I'm ready to, just collapse in the bed. These are not my finest hours, finest moments. These are always the moments when my energy fizzled out and I'm ready to, So instead of that, I am doing these videos for you. So look at those videos at the playlist. So at my recommendations playlist, there's a bunch of these masterclasses as well, but most of those videos will be all kinds of stuff. So good luck finding the masterclasses on that playlist, and have an awesome day, and I wish you all as amazing audio journey as I have, and please like, subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.